Good morning. I am starting off this morning quite a bit later than I did yesterday morning. I've emptied the storage in the phone that I'm filming on, so it shouldn't cut out before I begin to apply the watercolor. And I thought that I would begin with a comparison of flexible nib pens. I talked yesterday about how this one, the Osprey, was pretty scratchy. This is a really inexpensive flexible nib pen. Don't remember how much it was, but it's the least expensive of these three choices. This has, let's see if I can get it up closer. This has a G nib, and a G nib is cut out. It's really a nib that's meant for a dip pen, one where you just stick the point in, and not for an automatic feed like this where you have a reservoir of ink inside. Here we have the ink inside, which looks like I should fill this before I continue. So I will go and do that. All right, I'm back. This is, and I discovered, I Googled this to see what it was. This is the Osprey standard fountain pen with the G nib, and this is a $30 pen. And you can use it with a refill. No, I'm wrong. Can't use it with the refill. This comes just with this filling cartridge, and I will show you how you fill it. This is a vial of diamine chocolate brown ink. I think that's what's in here. I'm not sure, but it's okay. This piece at the bottom turns. See how it, okay, see how it's going up? And it's pushing air. You can see that this is not, I don't do it in this direction when I'm actually filling it, but I'm trying to share with you how these work. So this is going up, pushing the air out. So you want to do this over a sink and this direction so that it pushes it out this way. Or if you're on a plane or something, you would hold it right over your vial so that anything coming out of the nib will go back into the vial and not all over yourself. Now submerge this all the way into the ink. Make sure that there's room and you don't see how the level is going up. And you don't have to put it all the way in, but I usually do to make sure that I really get the ink in there, and then I wipe it off. And what you do is you slowly, because you've created a vacuum, you slowly bring that stopper back up by turning it clockwise. Can you see the level of the ink coming up? All the way up to the top, slowly, because it's sucking it up. So give it time to suck up. And then often you just release it a little bit and then back up, and that gets it flowing better. Then you really want to make sure to wipe this off with a paper towel or something so that you don't ink up your fingers completely. Okay, I made that look far more complicated than it really is. So this is the Osprey, and I find it's hard to get it started. See? There we go. And this is what I mean by railroading. I'll zoom in on this. When you press hard, the tines open up. Sometimes you have to dip it into water. With a better pen, you don't have to do that as much. Here, if I hold it up straight, it works better. But see how it's a little bit hard to describe. It's a stiff pen, but it's stiff nib, but the tines do split open. So if you hold it up straighter, I have a tendency to hold things more at an angle, like that. But when I'm trying to make a thick, thin line, see how they split? Now, if you work very slowly, there, see? That's what you want. But I just don't move that slowly. Maybe if I really did calligraphy, which I can't say that I do, it's frustrating. So don't like the scratchy noise. See, and it's kind of fun to draw with when I don't really care, because sometimes it works well and sometimes it doesn't. So it adds a great deal of variety to a drawing, but it's pretty uncontrolled variety, which I also enjoy. So that's the Osprey, a $30 pen, and that's what you get, is a $30 pen. All right, moving on. Let's test this out. Now, all of the flexible nib pens are a little tricky. This is a vintage Mont Blanc that's hard to come by. And this is a dream come true. Smooth. Look at that. Now there's some railroading too, but I was really putting pressure on it. Look at that. Not only do you get variation of line, but you get light to dark, and it's just, depending on the ink. Look at that. And it just, oh my gosh, it's like a springboard. It just, it is fabulous. But it's also a pricey pen. And it's not something that I usually travel with because I don't dare risk losing it. It's not like I could go out and buy another one. It took me years to find this one. Okay, now this other one, this is my Aurora. It's also a pricey pen. And this is an incredibly flexible pen, not like the Mont Blanc. This you have to work at more. Let's see if it's working. It can make a really fat line, even fatter than that. I have not yet been able to coax it into that. This is one that I really journal a lot with, just writing. It's fun to write with. If I hold it at the right angle, it doesn't railroad. Can you see it? Okay, see, oops, there it's railroading again, where the ink stops flowing in that space between the split tines and just goes down the tine. And this is so much stiffer, but I know because I saw at Fountain Pen Hospital, I saw someone use this pen, and make really fat lines. It's just I have not tamed it, but it is smooth, it's not scratchy. Gives me variety of lines. See that? I can work pretty fast, and it doesn't make that horrible scratchy noise. It also starts right up. So there are a lot of things that I love about this. It's not quite this. Nothing has compared to this pen. Okay, so I really could go on all day about fountain pens, and I won't do that. This the Aurora comes out with a new color every year. I don't remember what year I got this. It was not that many years ago, and that color was brown. Probably wouldn't have picked brown, but that's the color of the year, and that's what I got. All right, back to the morning scribble. That's your little lesson in fountain pens and railroading. I'm going to go back to seeing what's possible with the Osprey because I just couldn't have cared less yesterday morning. It was 4 in the morning, 4:30 in the morning. Didn't matter to me what happened, and I wasn't trying too hard. I was just playing. And that attitude carried over into the watercolor that was clearly, to me, influenced by Vuillard at the time, though I didn't really realize it. Let's see, are you seeing that? Yeah. Okay, so here we go with today's. I'm working on the cupboard to the left of the one that I played with yesterday, and we'll see what happens. Now, granted, this is not a quick morning scribble. I've already spent, aside from the time that I explained about the fountain pens, I've already spent about 15 minutes. I think it was closer to 15 minutes doing the drawing. And now I'm going to playfully go into the watercolor. But after doing this, which was really not meant to be playful or anything, it was too early in the morning to think about anything. Which is why I like doing these in the morning. And now my brain is kicked in, and I have expectations of this because I want this fun experience again. So instead of it being a surprise, it's an expectation, and we'll see what happens with that. This is where daily practice comes in, because you have to go through all of these stages of happy accidents. Oh, I like that, I want to do that again, to apprehension over, will it be fun again? Will it work again? And then you get to the point where you're relaxed. It becomes part of your habit, becomes part of your intuitive mark making. And then you proceed from there, and you end up with another happy accident. It all starts all over again. Not going to talk through this because I can't focus and be in that zone if I'm talking. That's it. This is a Rotring art pen. My first art pen I had a lot of trouble with, but this one has been great. This is one that Tom brought back for me from a trip. I think it was his trip to Italy, and it's a B. It's a very nice nib. It flows nicely. I like it. And then I'm going to use these two graphite stick pencils. This is a Pentalic woodless pencil, Grumbacher. It's a 2B, and this one I think is a little softer in this wonderful holder that I picked up in my travels somewhere. My plan, though you know that I don't always hold to my plan, is to start off with pencil, add some really playful watercolor, and then possibly go back with ink. Not sure. the little dots are going to have to wait until this dries. Good morning, this is Chris Carter, Kaleidoscope Krone. After watching this, you will understand why I really don't get much of anything else done. I get distracted and excited, and this morning what happened was I was thrilled about drawing this big piece of metal. Now, this is a die. I don't know if it's called a die cast, a cast die. This is a die for a tablet making press to make tablets for the pharmaceutical industry. And my husband knows how much I love machines and parts and just things like this. So he made my day by bringing this home for me yesterday, and I really couldn't wait to do this as my morning scribble. So what I did was I wanted to get on with my day, and I really need to film the first part of the Flexicon class. And I've been putting it off because I did get distracted with planting a garden this year. So I was outside because I love being outside. Now, here we go. This I did on my iPad with the Apple Pencil, which is just divine. It's always a little awkward because if I rest my hand at all, it makes marks on the screen, unless I put something else down. So what I do is I just hold it up here, and it forces me to be looser and not really care. And then I wrote in these little things, and I could move on, carry on, getting on with the filming of the Flexicon class. But as I was printing this out to put into my morning Scribbler sketchbook, I thought, oh, it would be great if I got rid of the words and printed this out on watercolor paper, and then I could show people how I can just play with watercolor and not know what's going to happen, and just play with brushes, and oh, won't that be fun? Oh, that was after I printed this out. This is usually what I print out, and then I tape down, put the corners on, put it in my morning Scribbler sketchbook. What I did was I took a piece of watercolor paper. I've cut a lot of watercolor paper into 8.5 by 11 so that I can print line drawings out to use to paint on multiple times for examples, either in live workshops or in the classes, or just for myself to play with different color variations, though I don't repeat things that often, so it's just easier, and it works as a good teaching tool. I transferred the file from the Repaper app to my computer into Photoshop, got rid of the words, then printed this out without the words. I don't really know what I'm going to do, but I am going to play. I have some tools out here. This reservoir brush is really pretty exciting. Still don't know how to manipulate it very well, but I'm having fun with it. And then this is the souvenir brush from the Morgan Library and Museum with a pencil on one end. And it's really a great brush. So I have that just because I've been using it. I have a bigger one because I want to be a little messier. And then these, I thought, I will get out the squirrel brushes to show what that does. And these are divine. I fell in love with squirrel brushes, which I really didn't like at first because you put them in water and they get all limp. But they're great for flinging paint. They just hold so much paint. And these are travel squirrel brushes. And oh my God, they're divine. I found these in a little art shop in Paris, and I could not believe my good fortune to find travel squirrel brushes. These are basically Asian, I think. I'm always forgetting all this information. This is, it says Leonard, maybe it's a Da Vinci, Leonard 76RO, number 1. And this is Leonard number 3, 76RO. There we go. I cleaned this out. See, this all took time because this palette had gotten so disgusting and little crunchy watercolors in here. So I took out those, plopped these two in, and then put my little turquoise cobalt in there. So what I have 2 piles of ultramarine blue. Why? Because I use a lot of ultramarine blue, and 2 fit. So I guess I have them in there. This is Joe's blue, which is phthalo blue. This is cadmium red light, which I can't do without, even though it's a cadmium, and I know it's not great for me. This is alizarin crimson. This is cobalt violet light. This is a viridian. Cobalt turquoise of one kind or another. Hansa yellow medium. Hansa yellow light. So that's my palette. And here we go. That's it. Was fun. It was challenging. It's a bit ugly, but it certainly has some energy in it.